I don't want to brag, but, you know, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing. Yeah. No other president.
At a Republican conference in Florida, U.S. President Donald Trump made headlines with remarks that quickly went viral online. While speaking at the conference, Trump said no other U.S. president could do some of the things he claims to be doing right now. The U.S. president added he was not trying to brag, but insisted his actions and decisions are unlike those of past leaders.
Now you've done something that no other president could have done. No, I don't want to brag, but, you know, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing. No other president. The things I'm doing, nobody else was going to do it. They say it all the time. Sir, could you do this? You're the only one can do it. But we got it done, and we got the countries to all go along. Because I said, if you don't do it, I'm going to raise your tariffs to 200%, to 150%, and that's 10 times more than I'm asking for.
The comments were made during a broader speech where Trump praised his political achievements and defended his leadership style. The remarks have since sparked sharp reactions across social media, with supporters praising him and critics questioning the claim.
I had a news conference, I'm embarrassed to say, a long time ago, my first term, third year, because I went up to a level that I did things that nobody's ever done. 28 years, I brought it down 0.25%. Now I brought it down 80%, 90%, 75%, depending the way it's driving the fake news crazy because I say 400%, 500%, 600%, depending on the way you want to talk about it, if you want to talk about pricing. But using a conservative number, what we've done is we paid the highest price for drugs anywhere in the world, and now we pay the lowest price for drugs anywhere in the world. We are tied for the lowest price. Whoever has the lowest price, that's what we pay. And I did that through tariffs. We had a little disappointing decision, to put it mildly, from the Supreme Court. Terrible decision for the people. But the good news is I have lots of other ways of doing the same thing. I just have to work a little harder. They want me to work harder, but we're doing the same thing with a lot of work. But I used tariffs to get this because I went to other countries. The drug companies were not easy, but I got them. I said, we're not paying. We were paying for a pill $130 that in London and Germany and different places you'd pay $10. So we were paying 13 times more. They're paying $10, we're paying $130. And the drug companies, I called them in. We had a rough time, but it wasn't that bad. And they agreed because they knew that I couldn't get the countries. You had to get the countries to approve it. And I called up, and you've heard me say this a couple of times, not often, but I called the countries up. I called up France. I said, Emmanuel, you have to cut your good friends from America a reasonable deal. What's happening is you are paying a tiny fraction for drugs. No, Donald, I cannot do anything about that. I said, you can. He said, no, I will not do it. I will not do it. Because he'd have to raise his pill from $10 to $20 and maybe even $30. Ours would come down from $13, $130 down to $20. Think of that. From $130. That's what you're going to get. From $130 to $20. But he has to double his price from $10, and they were the boss. I said, no, you will. No, Donald, I cannot do that. And I heard this from all the other countries, too, very elegant people. And they were saying, no, we cannot do this. We will not do this. I said, yes, you will, 100%. No, we will not. Because, they have to double up their prices. And I said, well, here's the story. If you don't do it, I'm going to put, in the case of Emmanuel, I said a 100% tariff on all wines and champagnes coming into the United States. No, Donald, you cannot do that. I said, I've already got the legislation. It's right in front of my desk. I'm going to sign it. Emmanuel, he said, Donald, I will agree to this. So he agreed. Everybody agreed. I got every country to agree. And now you've done something that no other president could have done. No, I don't want to brag. But, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing. No other president. The things I'm doing, nobody else was going to do it. They say it all the time, sir, could you do this? You're the only one can do it. But we got it done, and we got the countries to all go along. Because I said, if you don't do it, I'm going to raise your tariffs to 200%, to 150%, and that's 10 times more than I'm asking for. And every single one, if it took me 5 minutes, that was like a long time. I was doing badly with that one. So now we have most favored nation pricing into permanent law, and you should codify it. But I don't care that much about codifying it, because what politician is going to agree to increase drug prices by 500%, okay? So, but it's still good to have it codified. Don't you agree? You know, they're saying, sir, we have to codify it. I said, that's okay, but I'm not. Other things you should codify. That I can tell you. This one you should codify, because you want to take credit for it. You want to take credit for it. So if you can, please codify it. Get out there and codify. You're getting an 80%, 85%, 55%, 70% reduction in drug prices. Codify it. But if you don't, no president's going to raise it, in my opinion. Although they are crazy, you know. These people are crazy. They could find a way. You better get it codified. And as we work to bring down interest rates so that more Americans afford a house, I'm also asking you to ban the Wall Street firms, large Wall Street firms, institutional investors, from buying up thousands and thousands of single-family homes, hundreds of thousands of homes, because homes really are for people, not for hedge funds. We want to get the market out so they can do it, and we're stopping it. We want people to be able to buy a house. It's the American dream. Buying a house is a part of the American dream. And we must also stand up for the safety of our citizens. One of my guests at the State of the Union was Anya Zarutska, the mother of beautiful 23-year-old Ukrainian girl who was stabbed to death on a train in North Carolina by a deranged criminal, arrested more than a dozen times. And I had the mother, as you know, at the State of the Union, and she was devastated. Beautiful woman, devastated. Uncontrollably devastated. And we couldn't get one Democrat to even clap. The Republicans clapped and went wild, and they loved her. Not one Democrat in that whole room even thought about clapping. They sat there frozen-faced. Disgusting. House Republicans should get every member of Congress on record and pass a tough new crime bill that imposes harsh penalties for dangerous repeat offenders, which this nut was, cracks down on rogue judges and prosecutors, and ends no cash bail once and for all. No cash bail is a big part. I mean, you have a man murder somebody, and by that afternoon he's out on bail. No cash bail. It's a huge problem. We also need to end deadly sanctuary cities, and you have bills before you now, and you're working on things, but hopefully you can do that, Mike.